Welcome back to All Games Mindset, where we get you on the grind and improve your mind. So today we're going to go over law number 18 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Let's go. Alright guys, so law number 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Alright guys, so this law is about isolation. Now too much of it, especially in today's world, can be very dangerous, especially for the mind. It is very important to point out that humans are naturally social creatures. We are naturally meant to talk to each other, communicate, build things together, raise families together, communicate different things throughout the day, and this is how our evolution has decided that we are.
Yeah, the Egyptians did not build the pyramids with one person doing it by himself. It was a community effort. It was a civilization effort. Well, granted, it was with mostly slaves, but we don't have to go there. We don't have to go to that point. It's about us being together and doing things together. I understand people who are artists and stuff like that, who want to write and create their craft. They don't want other people around to distract them, but some people also wouldn't mind having other people there to bounce ideas off. And so it's great to have people around for that specific purpose, especially in an artist type setting, but you really want to be around others because you don't know what can happen around you. You need to be aware of the surroundings that you have, be aware of the friends and the allies that you associate yourself with, and you'll have a better life and a better future for yourself without any real setbacks. You don't want to keep yourself isolated in your house and just look at the internet and stuff because you don't know what's going on in the actual real world. You're looking at virtual world. You're not actually looking at the existence that you're in right in this moment. And that's the whole paradigm of that whole thing. You want to live in this virtual world, but the virtual world wouldn't exist without the legitimate world that you exist in. And you need to understand that by isolating yourself within that virtual world, you're creating a lot of horrible problems for yourself out in the real world.
Now, these days, it is also important to note out there are two levels of isolation that we have. There's in-person isolation and there's social media isolation, which is a different thing now that we have the internet and everybody's addicted to their phones. Now, when you're not communicating with people through your phone, now there's a technical isolation, I would say there is. I think technical isolation can be very healthy. I think staying on social media for a good amount of time can be very beneficial for the brain, but you also don't want to limit contact with people in person because in-person interaction is a lot more healthy than communicating through the phone. It's always better in person to look at someone in the eye when you're talking to them.
Yeah, I personally, let me just say this personally, I don't like talking to people on the phone. I'd rather be in front of them face to face and have a conversation because I feel like with me it's a lot easier to do that with that conversation. Having it on the phone, I just hear only their voice. I don't know, their body language. I don't know what, how they look when they're saying the words that they're telling me. I'd rather have this conversation with them face to face so I can see that, I can read it, and then I can, maneuver whatever things I need to say and how I want to say it the proper way that I need to. Because if they're saying something and I don't know I can't read specifically what they're trying to tell me and like how specifically the tone that they're trying to use, it's a lot easier seeing it in person. And so on the phone, I'm just like, oh, okay, I have to try to maneuver my way and adapt the way I can, but having a conversation in person is a lot better, and going and actually talking to people helps staying away from isolation itself.
Yeah, you can. I think isolation can be good for a temporary amount of time, maybe like one day, keep to yourself, and maybe a few hours, just kind of relax to yourself, give yourself time to think, and maybe complete some tasks that you have, some alone, some even at the gym time when you're lifting alone, and you sort of get that time to refresh. But there also has to come a point where that ends and you begin interacting with someone else for whatever purpose that you may have going on in your life. You don't want to separate yourself from other human beings for too long because that could be very dangerous and not beneficial for the mind. You need to be able to communicate, share ideas, share thoughts, and express yourself in many ways to other people.
Yeah, and if you're in a position of power, like if you're like a manager or something, you don't want to isolate yourself from your, let's call them your other workers, your subordinates, let's call them, right? You don't want to isolate yourself because then those people that you look over and manage, they're not going to respect you as much unless if you were actually there with them communicating and working with them. If you isolated yourself, you put yourself in the back, and you didn't talk to any of them, didn't do anything with any of them, interact in any way, they're just going to look at you like, who the hell are you? You're not helping us. You're not being a good manager. Doing something like that is very detrimental, especially just in your career, because people will not respect you and probably not going to have any great opportunities coming forward, because people around will get the hint that you're not great. And that's because you isolated yourself away. But if you actually interacted and helped and did something with them, people will respect you a lot more, and you can even move up farther than where you're already at. So you need to understand the differences there and what you can do to be better in that specific situation in a place of power like a manager.
Like a recent example that we can speak to is like people have isolated themselves due to the pandemic and for longer amounts of time than they should have. Doing that sort of corrupts the brain and creates problems within yourself that you don't even realize happens. It builds up over time. And then when you do interact with someone, you're not socially all there. You're a little kind of shy. It's a little bit different. From long periods of time of isolation can be really detrimental to the mind. And we've seen this recently, due to everything that's going on. And that's why we never really, locked ourselves down. We never isolated ourselves. We always maintained contact in person. We still worked out. We still ran every day, which you could see in our old All Gains Mindset Facebook group post, which you could still look at. And we ran every day together, outside where humans belong, right? Because we refused to isolate ourselves for a long amount of time because we knew it was going to create a lot of damage in the brain. So that's a lesson that if any of you have done that, you should not do that ever again. Not very healthy. No matter what the government tells you, you need to interact with people, not just your family maybe, but you need to go out and you need to meet new people and develop relationships as time goes on, no matter what. It is just part of the human brain. Once again, we don't fight nature on this channel. We embrace nature and use it to our advantage.
So if you guys enjoyed this law and enjoyed our overview of the 48 Laws of Power, definitely hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel. We have entire playlists. We have entire playlists of the 48 Laws of Power that we've done so far, and I'll have it up here. I always put it up in the cards or whatever. You can take a look at all those. If you haven't looked at all of them already, go back to the first one and come back all the way down. Definitely leave a comment on what you think about this law. Tell us what you think, how this law means to you, and we'll have a great conversation about that. Also, go check the All Gains Mindset Facebook group. We just said it before. We have a whole bunch of great stuff in there. We post almost every day in there. We put up some of the videos that go up on this channel. We also post some food and workout stuff. So definitely go out there and check that. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell as well. Stay up to date. And with that said, guys, we will see you in the next video.